I'm endorsed first by the Working Families Party. I'm running just on the Working Families Party line. Um, and I will tell you that that endorsement means an awful lot to me because my experience with the Working Families Party was refreshingly apolitical. During this entire process of running for city court, I found the Working Families Party to be the most ingenuous and the most sincere and the most, if it in a funny way, apolitical of political parties, in the sense that they were not gonna deal with the issues of, well, who else is supporting you? Well, who's giving you this money? Well, how much money can you give us? The question for them was, what do you believe in, and what is your vision? And we had interviews, and they made their endorsements, and it was very meaningful to me, and it remains very meaningful to me that I'm running as a what is sometimes dismissively called a minor party candidate. I'm running as a Working Families Party candidate because I actually I think that they're the political party that most closely represents how I feel about politics. I've been endorsed by the Buffalo Building Inspectors Union, and again, that is a very meaningful endorsement for me. I've worked closely with the building inspectors for some 20 years, and by working closely with them, I do not by any means mean to suggest that we're always on the same side. In fact, we often are not. I represent a lot of homeowners in housing court, but I have found that Buffalo's building inspectors, by and large, are among the most straightforward, straight-shooting civil servants you'll find. And they have a job to do, and it's a very hard job. But if you treat them with respect and you deal with these inspectors as professionals, they will treat you with respect right back. And what I found is that by being straight with the inspectors and by dealing with them on the literally hundreds, maybe thousands of cases I've had in housing court, we developed a rapport, and I was very honored and flattered when they endorsed me. By the same token, I'm endorsed by AFSCME Local 264, the union that represents an enormous number of City of Buffalo employees and Housing Authority employees, some school district employees as well. And again, I made the acquaintance of the leadership of Local 264 when I was representing management at the Housing Authority. And notwithstanding the fact that we argued against each other in dozens or many dozens of grievance arbitrations and disciplinary hearings, their endorsement said to me that they recognized that I was fair and I was honest and I could be trusted, and they endorsed me, and I was happy to hear about that. As far as ratings, I've been rated by all the judicial rating agencies and organizations. The Erie County Bar Association rated me qualified, as did the Independent Judicial Selections Committee. The Western New York chapter of the Women's Bar Association rated me highly qualified. The Minority Bar Association rated me qualified. And frankly, I am qualified. I've been an attorney for a very long time, and the bulk of my practice has been in city court. There isn't a single thing in city court I haven't done many, many times. And I think I would do an excellent job on the bench. If I were allowed to serve in housing court for the full 10 years, that would be my ideal. But if I wasn't to be in housing court for the first year, I would make do, and I would do a good job, and I would bide my time until I could get to housing court, because frankly that's my passion.
So, hello, I'm Aaron Bartley. I live on the west side of Buffalo on Plymouth Avenue. Came back here a good 7 years ago to work on housing issues and community economic justice issues. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why I think housing court, in particular in the city of Buffalo, is a crucial institution, and why we need leadership in that institution that is innovative, committed, dedicated, has an interest in experimentation and innovation that will move our city forward. So first and foremost, Buffalo is in a housing crisis. We're in a crisis that is not unique to our city. We're in a crisis that is shared and experienced by cities throughout the Great Lakes region, from Detroit to Toledo to Cleveland, and it has to do with depopulation and deindustrialization, lack of factory closings, as well as people moving to the suburbs. And it's a crisis that in our city has left about 15,000 structures vacant throughout our neighborhoods. At the same time, we're at a great moment of opportunity in Buffalo. We know that we have an incredible housing stock. Not only do we have an incredible housing stock, we have a city plan that is really unrivaled when it comes to creating appropriate densities, continuity between neighborhoods, beauty. Those assets are things that we have as building blocks. And the housing court can and has played a crucial role in beginning to realize those assets and embrace them and use them as tools for our rebirth. So, we have the legacy of people like Judge Nowak, who worked really, really diligently to create partnerships throughout the city and to experiment in ways that had city community groups working at the neighborhood level to manage property, to experiment in ways that had information and communication flow directly from the street level into the judge's chambers, that allowed the judge to get a very clear picture of the housing crisis and ways that it could be dealt with. And that type of experimentation where a judge is actually leading a community planning effort, or say be a lead partner in a community planning effort as he was in Black Rock, say, that's what we need going forward to help our neighborhoods again realize the promise that they have. So I think the key to being a successful housing court judge is one, a commitment to learning and best practices. Cities across the Great Lakes have worked on structures such as land banks, whether they're micro land banks, such as the one that we have on the west side, where the community is taking control of property, repurposing it, renovating it, or whether they're macro land banks. Those are ideas that have been put into practice in other regions, and the housing court judge has to be fluent in those ideas, has to be someone who's willing to learn from other cities. And I think that the second main principle that I see that a need for is an understanding of economic justice, of social justice, of commitment to community, because those issues come up in housing court. Whether you have speculative slumlords from, say, not to disparage downstate, but just to say from New York City, which we have a lot of, who are essentially playing games with their neighborhoods. Housing court justice has to be willing to get serious with those parties and lay down the law. On the other hand, I think we need some really creative thinking when it comes to how we deal with low-income homeowners in the city of Buffalo, who are in a crisis of their own because of the national economy, local economy. They, of course, need to abide by the housing codes themselves, but if they're an owner-occupant in a low-income neighborhood and they're doing their best to take care of their houses, the housing court judge has to be aware of that context and be willing to enforce the codes, but work with that homeowner on a personal basis. And we have had judges in the past who have been willing to do that, and I think we need one again.